Happy day, Dolphins! Welcome to the PFN Miami Dolphins podcast. I'm your co-host, All Freaky, here once again with my friend Adam Beasley. And we are in the off season and it's quiet and there's not a whole lot going on. So, Adam, how are you doing today?
Well, as you can see, those of you on YouTube can see I'm wearing black today.
So
I'm a bit in mourning as to what I had to experience last night.
So Adam's down in the dumps because we were hoping today that we would be celebrating the Florida Panthers winning the Stanley Cup finally. And that didn't happen last night, did it?
No, there was a lot of excitement and a lot of disappointment. That place, Amaranth Bank Arena, formerly BB&T Arena, whatever you want to call it, out of the barn by the swamp. Was electric. Jack Nicklaus was banging the drum pregame. I saw Jalen Waddle getting out of an elevator, star-studded.
So I watched it on TV. I could see Waddle from the front row on TV.
He had front row seats?
Yes. I was kind of scoping because I'm like, okay, this game is hyper expensive, right? So the people who are sitting in the front row are celebrities, possibly Dolphins. So I'm like scanning every time it would go past. I'm like, and then boom, I saw it. I was like, Waddle. I even showed my son. I'm like, look, what does that say? He said, that says Waddle. So
boom,
I'm like, oh.
I saw it, Waddle. Yeah, I didn't have those seats. I was up in the press box doing a fan react story. Actually, for my old friends at the Miami Herald, doing a little double dipping.
Oh, that's good.
And, certainly I've got a lot invested in this playoff run. I've gone to a bunch of games. I've watched, obviously, every second on television. And last night was the night for me because I'm going on vacation Saturday and I will not be around if there is a Game 7. So I'm selfishly hoping Friday night, get it done. I'll miss the parade, obviously. It would have been great if they had won yesterday, parade Friday. But you know what? All good things are, what is it? Nothing good comes in a rush. I don't know what the saying is, but
well, this is tricky because I know, honestly, I am surprised that you guys haven't wrapped it up yet. Those who know, I'm a Rangers fan, so I have no horse in this race. But I still feel for my friends. Okay, like I know we roast a lot, but I do feel for my Panthers friends, and I'm surprised that it's going like this. But at the same time, like you're not going to see a sweep, in the late rounds of the Stanley Cup playoffs. And so, this is playoff hockey. So this is how it goes. And I'm sorry, guys. I know it's so painful. I was sitting on the couch and I'm like, dude, I am so glad this is like not literally like my team because I would be in tears right now. And seeing those fans on TV, everybody's crying and everything. I'm like, I just want to hug you guys. I feel bad.
Well, a couple of things to consider. One, yes, they could have ended it at home. You always want to have that celebration.
So I had wondered too. I was like, okay, the game in Edmonton, did you guys throw that game? Losing 1-8, was that like them throwing it or what?
Obliterated. They didn't.
I was
they
okay.
Didn't lose. They got absolutely destroyed.
Yeah, so maybe they're trying to throw the game so they can win at home in front of their fans. Which, yeah, of course, why not? But then to have that happen last night, I feel so bad.
Yeah, knowing the mindset of hockey players, any professional athlete, they want to win every game they play.
Of course.
Certainly it
never
would
admit
be
to it.
better to win at home. Now, for them to win at home, it's going to have to be a Game 7, which takes into account so many things. There's only been 17 Game 7s in the Stanley Cup Final in NHL history, and there's only been one of those 17 was from a team that blew a 3-0 lead to lose their last 4 games. Only one time in the history of the sport has that happened. The Toronto Maple Leafs and the Detroit Red Wings in 1942, I think. Panthers do not want to join that awful list that the Red Wings are the only member of right now.
And not wishing on you guys. No.
It would be ideal for all involved except for supporters of the Oilers and obviously ESPN for this to wrap up as soon as possible.
Considering that this is a Dolphin podcast, this is very Dolphin-like to implode when it matters the most. So
well, you were going to actually help me segue that we've seen out of Connor McDavid what we thought we only see out of franchise quarterbacks and maybe star NBA players.
Yep.
That one player has just taken over a series, and he's got, I think, 8 points in the last 2 games. He's already broken the Stanley Cup playoff record for assists. He has 34. It's just absolutely jaw-dropping. There are a ton of players that don't have 34 assists in a season.
Yeah.
He has it in 4 rounds of the playoffs. And so if you're a Dolphins fan, obviously probably a Panthers fan too, present company excluded, of course, but you're probably a Panthers fan too. And you're like, wow, this is what can happen when we have a transcendent talent. Do we have that in Tua? And I think that's kind of what people are grappling with right now. Do we have something? Certainly the people who make the decisions for the Miami Dolphins. Okay, Tua, if you want that contract, and I think since the last time we talked, there has been another data point, right? The Trevor Lawrence contract, which came out at basically the same as Joe Burrow, a little bit less, guaranteed money than Burrow, but the AAV is the same, $55 million a year for the extension. Teams that invest that believe hopefully they believe that that quarterback can get the job done for them. And that's what we don't know yet with Tua. We now know that he can stay healthy for a season. We now know that he can get to the Pro Bowl, that he can lead the league in passing, that he can lead a team to the playoffs. But, you look at the body of work and the question's always basically mid-December on. So that's the thing, is that the Dolphins, if they're going to give the guy more money than any player's ever been given in the history of the sport, they have to not just think but believe he is the guy that can do that. Now, there's only one Connor McDavid. And here's the thing. The Oilers have him, and they're still underdogs to win the series, right? Mm-hmm. They still have to win these last 2 games, including one in Sunrise, for that to happen. But the Panthers' collective team is better than the Oilers' collective team. The Oilers are in the series because they have one player that it doesn't matter, right? If you're that good, it doesn't matter. Do you think the Dolphins have that in Tua Tagovailoa?
I do think that we have that in Tua Tagovailoa. Like we've gone over this so many times. The progress that we've seen with Tua, his ability to stay healthy has a big thing. And this is just like the thing that I keep hearing with the fans is, well, he hasn't won a playoff game. He hasn't won a playoff game. Well, that's not necessarily, Tua's fault. And I don't know at this point that needs to be considered when they're talking about contracts, because that is also a team thing. Like the team has to win the playoff game. And so the way that people are holding this over Tua's head right now, I just feel like is unfair. Okay, like Trevor Lawrence has a playoff win, great, but I do think hopefully we'll...
I know, yeah. He doesn't. Oh, you know what? The Chargers. That's right. The Chargers blew
that game was when we were in Buffalo, I think. A couple years ago. Yeah. So he does have one. And so, are we looking at, okay, well, since he has one, now Tua deserves less money than Trevor Lawrence because like that's the new, where the market's set now. I just don't know that that's super fair.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. Context is important. The first 2 years he was playing for a coach that didn't want him. And then the last 2 years, injuries have just destroyed their seasons. Mm-hmm. Tua being out of the playoffs 2022 because of the concussions, and then 2023 more than half the defense was hurt, and those offensive players that were available were banged up as well, and they were playing in the North Pole, right? And you got a guy who's from Hawaii playing in one of the 5 coldest games in the history of the sport.
Yeah,
probably isn't going to go great for you. So but I kind of feel like you exhaust those excuses at some point. Right? Yeah. At some point, if you're going to be the guy, you've got to be the guy. And I don't know if that's what the holdup is with the Dolphins and Tua for contract. My guess it's more guaranteed money over injuries because he has that history. And unless Mike McDaniel is the most convincing liar on the face of the planet, he is all in on Tua. Like every time you talk to him, right. It feels absolutely genuine that's his guy. So why do you think it hasn't gotten done yet?
I mean, it's got to be coming down to like at this point, this has been going on and on and on. Like it's got to be getting to an end point, right? Because it just seems like, I mean, I would just love to be a fly on the wall and to hear like the little, like what are the things that we are negotiating? Like, is it the overall money? Is it guaranteed? Is it? It's got to be the structure. It has to be because
it's got to be
something really detail oriented.
Right. Well, I think it's this. Like, we know he's not going to take less than 50. He's probably not going to take less than 52 to 55, particularly since we just talked about Trevor Lawrence got his too. But there's not all $55 million contracts are created equal. And if you're the Dolphins, you might say, okay, sure, we'll guarantee the first 2 years of it. And then the year after that, we'll throw some guarantees in if you stay healthy for those first two seasons, right? And then backloaded, yeah, you can make $75 million in the seventh year of the contract, which might not be unreasonable 7 years from now, right? But it's definitely not going to be guaranteed. And, maybe we throw some incentives in there on production in December and January because that's been a question about you. And all these things that there's got to be some caveats. And for Tua, those caveats have not been acceptable, right? If he found those clauses of those contracts palatable, it'd be done by now. And he would not have been stewing for as long as he has been. And certainly when we talked to him at minicamp, you could tell he was bothered by the fact that we know Tua, he's a big guy on respect. You can say what you want about, I think he's open to being critiqued on the field. But if you do things like, I know the Ryan Clark weight jokes got to him a little bit, just, family is hugely important to him. Faith is hugely important to him. There's certain triggers for him. And if he feels disrespected, he's going to not handle that very well. And I think there might be some of that involved right now with the Dolphins, which is tough because how do you fix that short of giving the guy what he wants? And if you as a franchise are not comfortable with that, what do you do?
I don't know what you do. And you know what? It was pretty evident, like last time Tua spoke, that he was very frustrated. And I wonder if that frustration, like just trying to like put myself in those shoes, is it frustration with like maybe the agent not being able to get it done or negotiate it properly? Or is he telling his agent, like, don't accept, like under any circumstances, do not accept anything less than XYZ? I wonder really like what those conversations look like.
Yeah. I mean, everything that I've heard is that Ryan Williams of Athletes First, who does represent Tua, has been a good, agent on his behalf. I don't think the anger is with him. I think it's with the franchise. It's probably with Chris Greer and Brandon Shore. It seems like he and Mike are fine, but again, we don't really know. But this is going to kind of get us to the crux of what this podcast is going to be. Is that look? It's June the 19th, and the Dolphins aren't one of those franchises that refuses to negotiate once the season begins. But it gets a lot harder.
Yeah.
And last year they did table those talks with Tua until he got through the season. Largely, I think it was because Tua also knew that what he wanted, they weren't going to come close to offering him because he had just come off significant head injuries and he was contemplating retirement. None of those things are the case now, and he's coming off by far the best season he's had. I think he believes that this is his time, and he sees all of his peers. Look, Trevor Lawrence was drafted after Tua, a year after. If he's getting paid and Tua hasn't, that doesn't sit well with the guy. So
it's got to be adding to the frustration and the anxiety. The more these contracts, come out, it's got to be adding to it. There's no way. I know it is for the fans.
I think that I still think it's more likely than not this gets done this year, simply because
we're like a month out from training camp now. Like it's got to happen, right? Within the next couple, like the next 4 or 5 weeks.
The question is, if it doesn't get done, does he hold out? I mean, holdouts are very rare in the NFL these days because of the new CBA, because the fines are so steep. But if you're Tua, are you willing to eat $1 million of fines if it makes you $10 million more in money? Maybe. Yeah. I mean, certainly it blows my mind to think, a player is going to literally take $1 million of fines in a contract negotiation. But you've had guys hold out entire seasons before at a principle. Would surprise me if Tua did that, of course. But I do think that there's a real likelihood that you get into July, August, mid-August, and this thing hasn't gotten done. And then you start to think, will it get done? Like Tua might say, hey, week one, I'm betting on myself like Christian Wilkins did. And Wilkins absolutely made the right decision. I mean, there's no way he would have gotten that money 15 months ago. or whatever it was. Tua might say that as well. And this is kind of leading us to the discussion I want to get to 15 minutes into this podcast is what does the world look like for the Miami Dolphins if they don't get this extension done? Like everyone kind of thinks, yeah, I mean, they're going to get this done, right? But what if?
What if? Here comes the doom and gloom PFN Miami Dolphins podcast.
All right,
okay, so let's lay it out.
I think we can rule out two things. He's not going to hold out the season because if he does that, his contract holds, and he's still a member of the Miami Dolphins in 2025 under his current fifth-year option. So that's not going to happen. It'd be stunning if it did. A trade, I just don't see that. Like, if you're going to trade the guy, you would have traded him 3 months ago, or you're going to trade him 9 months from now. You're not going to do it. You're not going to do it now. Mm-hmm. So, if the deal doesn't get done, he plays it out. He plays out the 2024 season on the fifth-year option, and then he approaches free agency. And if he approaches free agency, the Dolphins can do one of three things. One, work out an extension with him before free agency starts mid-March of 2025. Mm-hmm. Two, apply the franchise tag to him at, I think, $42 million for 2025. That's a projected. Maybe if there's another contract or two that gets done, that number goes up. Or three, well, actually, there's four options. Three, tag him and trade him. Like they could tag him, he could play under that tag in 2025. Three is tag him or trade him. Or four is just let him walk. Let him go to free agency. And if he finds that he can find a better deal somewhere else, then you have a quarterback issue in the 2025 season. Of all those things, I think that's the least likely.
Yeah. I just think that's just not happening at all. I mean, we're talking about Tua Tagovailoa. We're not talking about some mediocre, quarterback. We're talking about a quarterback that led like a top offense last year. They're not letting him walk. And like you said, the trade would have happened already if that was even why would we even do that?
I think they would protect their investment, and the very least they would tag him, and they would attempt to find a trade partner. And if they couldn't, Tua would be their quarterback. Next year under that, he would hate it. I'm sure that there would be a holdout throughout the entire spring and maybe into training camp that, under the franchise tag. But the NFL does give teams the power to tag twice and maybe even more if you want to completely eat up your entire cap by holding a player hostage. I mean, that is a possibility. Here's the thing, Allie, that you got to consider. The Dolphins' financial situation sucks. So if they would tag him, and this is why I think people say that Tua doesn't have much leverage. I think that's wrong. I think the leverage that Tua has is, and what we're about to lay out, think of life if this doesn't get done. Mm-hmm. Like we can quibble around the details and I'll give some and you'll give some and we'll probably meet in the middle. But if they're, men is from Mars, women are from Venus situation completely far apart and a deal doesn't get done, the Dolphins are in a world of hurt because then this entire rebuild that's started in 2019 has been wasted because the quarterback you drafted is not part of your future plans. And if you tag him, here's something I looked this up today, Allie, and I could not believe it. The Dolphins, depending on if you believe Spotrac or Over the Cap, which are the two biggest salary cap contract websites out there, they are somewhere between $9 and $13 million over the cap next year, which certainly isn't great, in any situation. But they don't have any quarterbacks. Like their quarterbacks under contract next year are Skylar Thompson and Gavin Hardison. That is it. No Tua Tagovailoa, no Mike White, and so they have no cap space and no quarterbacks right now. Like you're talking about back to square one, like complete catastrophe.
As bleak as this is sounding, that's why this contract is going to get done. That's why it has to.
With like 7 other things for them to be cap compliant and to field a team that is competitive. Yeah. Like okay, let's go through these. I went through them earlier. They're players that have enormous cap figures. Quarterback isn't among them because he's not under contract in 2025. Tyreek Hill, $34.2 million. Bradley Chubb, $29.3 million. These are the cap figures for 2025. Jalen Ramsey, $26.2 million. I would wager a guess there's fewer than 15, maybe even 10 quarterbacks in all of football who have a $26 million cap figure in 2025. The Dolphins have 3 position players, and then there's Teron Armstead, 22-1, and Jalen Waddle, 19-9. You can go down the list. Austin Jackson's got a big number. Jalen Phillips, Zach Sealer. I mean, it's Jordan Brooks. I mean, they're guys that 2025, the bill is going to come due soon. And so if it gets like we get through this season as we're talking about, and an extension's not done, and they decide to tag Tua, add an additional $42 million, because that's the thing about an extension is that you can finagle it in ways that 2025, there's going to be a cap charge for him. Of course, it's on the roster, but it's not going to be $42 million in a year you can't afford it. Again, leverage that Tua has. He knows how up against it they are. I mean, they already need to restructure or add void years to a bunch of those big deals. I think Austin Jackson's going to be in line for one. Jalen Waddle. We don't know. I mean, I think there's going to be a lot of players that are just gone, right? I mean, Tyreek likely gone. Bradley Chubb might, Jalen Ramsey, those guys that if they get stuck, they try to trade. It's possible. Teron Armstead going to retire probably, but he's still going to, even if he retires, it's going to cost them money. Do they trade Jalen Phillips? And I know a lot of people are going to lose their mind.
You are so mean today. You're being mean. You're being mean because you're hurting because the Panthers hurt you last night. Now you're putting it on the Dolphins right now. That's not nice.
I am telling you things that they've had conversations about to fix. Like, look, they built this team to win a Super Bowl, which is great. That is the object of the game. Their defense fell apart last year, and they blew a lead against the Titans, and they couldn't beat the Bills in Week 18, so they had to go to Kansas City in round 1, and they got obliterated because they froze. That was one of the years of their window. 2024, I think, is their last great chance with this core to get it done. But I'm going to be honest with you, Allie, there's going to be big changes coming in 2025. We just don't know if quarterback is one of those changes.
Well, I mean, that makes me feel crappy. Thank you for that.
Oh, no, I'm not done with the crappy feeling.
Oh, really? Carry on.
Wait a week. Okay. Again, I say this. I don't want to sound like Tua's agent here, but the reason a lot of these B+, A- quarterbacks are paid like A+ quarterbacks is teams are terrified of what reality would be without them, right? Tua, for his faults, and we've been through them, he's never had a losing season, right? Every single time he gets on the field, the Dolphins have a real chance to win because they have him as their quarterback.
Correct.
He might not go toe-to-toe with Patrick Mahomes or Joe Burrow or Lamar Jackson or some of these guys, but there's only a handful of dudes on the planet that I would say, hey, Tua's going to have a tough time with. He's going to need some help with his defense, some turnovers, some mistakes. That's not a long list. But if they didn't have Tua in 2025, do you want to hear what some of the options are?
Yeah, give them.
Okay, so Tua would enter free agency, and here are other potential. And I say the potential because these guys aren't all going to get there as free agency. Dak Prescott. Dak and Tua are the 2 quarterbacks right now that have to get deals done because the clock is ticking. He is set to be. Okay, so the Dolphins. All right, Tua walks out the door. Let's go pursue Dak Prescott, fans are going to say. Maybe he's even an upgrade. I don't know if that's true, but maybe he is. He's going to cost you $42 million that first year, right? He's going to want a $60 million a year contract. And you're going to be competing with every other team in the league that needs a quarterback.
Right.
Jordan Love is another possibility. I think there's zero chance the Packers let him out of the door. They're going to tag him if need be, but he is. And then you get past those 2. You know who the 3rd best free agent quarterback pending in 2025 is? Sam Darnold. And then number 4, Trey Lance. Okay? So that's who you'd be talking about as Dolphins fans if Tua doesn't get done.
We don't.
How about the draft, you say, right? Like the Dolphins.
Yeah, what about the draft? We draft well.
Totally a possibility as well. Okay.
Do we have a first-round pick next year?
They do. The Dolphins do have a first-round pick. If they're good, it's going to be in the 20s or 30s. Not a real chance to get a blue-chip player.
Yeah.
And by the way, there aren't any blue-chip players. There's like 1. Okay. Our friend Ian Cummings has been a guest of the show a couple of times. My colleague at PFN. He's out with his first PFN big board of 2025. And oof.
Wait, he's done one already?
Of course he's done. He had one done. He had one done the day the 2024 draft ended.
That guy does not rest. That's crazy.
So here are some names to keep in mind as we approach. I mean, college football practices are going to start in like 5 weeks, 6 weeks. Like we're right around the corner. The names that you're going to be hearing this coming cycle are this: Carson Beck of Georgia, Donovan Smith of Houston, Jackson Dart of Ole Miss, Shedeur Sanders of Colorado. You probably already know because of the Deion connection.
Yep.
Jalen Daniels of Kansas, Connor Weigman of Texas A&M, and Jalen Milroe of Alabama. Had one of the throws of the year this past year to help Alabama reach the college football playoff. Of all those dudes, one has a first-round grade, and that's Carson Beck. The rest are second or third-round picks in the first, in Ian's first, big board. So draft is not looking great. It's not like the last couple of years where it's like, hey, if you want a quarterback, you can get one of the drafts. One other option for the Dolphins would be via trade. There will be quarterbacks available via trade this coming year. Kirk Cousins, obviously, he's not the long-term answer in Atlanta with the decision they made in the draft.
Yeah.
And maybe Geno Smith, his time expires in Seattle. Would you rather have either of those two dudes than Tua Tagovailoa?
No, sir. No, I don't. Just extend Tua. Problem solved.
I think we're all kind of circling this. Is like there's no great answer, right? It was an easy answer for the Bengals to extend Joe Burrow. Been to the Super Bowl. He's in, when he's healthy, he's in the AFC Championship game every year, right? Really easy. Lamar Jackson. And even Lamar Jackson took years to get that done. And he's way more accomplished than Tua, 2-time MVP now.
So if you're Tua, what number do you think is fair?
I think he's going to ask at the very least for the Trevor Lawrence deal, which includes $55 million a year and $200 million guaranteed. And he's not going to accept any of these caveats that we were discussing earlier in this program about health, about productivity, about, Dolphins making the Super Bowl, any of those things. And he shouldn't, because when you're a quarterback, it is absolutely a seller's market. The buyers, 32 teams in the National Football League, there are not 32 championship level caliber quarterbacks. They're just not. So if you are one of those 15 dudes that in the right situation can win a championship, you have a ton of leverage. And Tua is one of those guys. Like he is. Like if the defense had played late in the season like it did in the middle of the season, and Tyreek and Waddle and Raheem and Devon were all healthy and they played like they did,
he would have a playoff win. More than multiple.
That. If they didn't cough up a 14-point lead with 4 minutes to go against the Titans, they would have hosted they would have been the 2 seed, I think. I think they would have been the 2 seed. And they hosted the Steelers? So you would have, instead of going to Arrowhead.
We would have hosted the Bills, I think, at home. But either way.
That's right. But because
we would have had to play them in Miami back to back. Yeah.
No. Here's what would have happened. If they would have just beat the Bills week 18, yes, you're right.
Oh, if they had won.
If they'd beaten the Titans and then lost that last week to the Bills would have been the 6th. The Steelers would have been the 7th. Right. So, I mean, none of those things are Tua's fault.
No.
Right?
That's what I'm saying.
It's not his fault those guys all got hurt. It's not his fault the defense could not hold a 14-point lead against a rookie quarterback at home on national television. None of those things are Tua's fault. So
anyway. What do you think? I mean, what do you think about the length of the duration of the contract? Like on average, when we see extensions of this nature,
it's not really
3 years, 4 years usually? Like, is that typical? Do you think he cares?
No, I don't think he cares. Look, you can add phony baloney numbers to the end of a contract and make it a 10-year contract. But if the guaranteed money expires after year 3, in actuality, it's a 3-year contract. It's a 3-year contract, and then we'll see. Okay? We'll see. Maybe you meet that contract and exceed it, and then we get a value. maybe we like you, but not at the number of those last 7 years of the contract, and we have you take a pay cut if you're okay with it, or we cut you. The way that the CBA is written, teams have so much of this leverage. So anyway, this is the one time. I think there will be no other time in Tua Tagovailoa's career that he will have as much leverage as he has in the next 9 months. Mm-hmm. And I think with each passing week, so long as he stays healthy, so long as he stays productive, that leverage only increases. So if you're the Dolphins, you're going to have to swallow the pill. You're going to have to, because of all of these other things that we just laid out over the course of the last half an hour. You're going to have to do it. And dragging your feet on it, the only thing that does is piss off the quarterback.
Yeah,
that's all it does.
Well, I would expect we should hear something in the next couple of weeks. I'm sure, you also agree.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it'll come when I'm driving to Pennsylvania next week.
Yeah. So you're going on vacation. Where in Pennsylvania are you going?
Undisclosed location in the mountains.
Aha.
So, somewhere where it's not 150 degrees every single day. I like to flee South Florida in the month between minicamp and training camp. I think this is like the 5th time we've made this drive. Mm-hmm. Have you ever taken a 1,200 mile drive with your family and a dog before?
Not a dog, but yes, family many times. I have family in Pennsylvania, and we have done that many, many times. In fact, I've done it the day that I graduated pharmacy school. I did it with my mom, and I was that was like the final move from Philadelphia. And so I was so excited to get down here. Jared was already living here. And so I drove straight through. My mom slept. I didn't sleep a wink. I went straight through like 26, 27 hours or whatever it was. But I was so motivated to get here and start my life in Florida. So that was my favorite time. And as long as that was, like, it felt fast.
Dude, we are taking, like, we're going to make stops along the way, see family for a couple nights here and there.
Yeah.
But going to the Poconos, we're taking 7 days to get up there. And then coming back, we're taking 4 to get home. So we're going to spend 11 days of like the next month on the road.
That's awesome. See, that's the way to do it. Like, it's so much better when you don't have to hurry and do the drive all at once, and you can make some stops on the way. Like, we had a cabin in the Poconos for a long time. Jared's grandfather had a cabin, and then he passed away, and it went through the family a little bit, but it's been a long time since we've been up to the mountains, at least.
Well, come up and visit. We'll be there on the lake, and lake life is great. But yeah, I really hope that if this gets done, it's not when I'm like,
it will be. It will be just to spite you.
Okay, so the worst part is South Carolina roads are absolutely the worst in the nation. And they're 2 lanes. Like 95 is 2 lanes for 3 hours going through South Carolina. That is when the 2 extension will get done, I have no doubt.
So you're not going to have much reception, I assume.
More appetite to be pulling over and writing while we have a screaming child and a barking dog.
Don't worry.
Really, true Griswold situation that I'm
I got you. I'll report on the Tua contract as soon as the news breaks.
All right. Well, I expect to read that story within the next 5 minutes, and it gets online, and it's good to go.
Yeah,
we're in good hands.
All right. Well, thanks guys for tuning in as always. Training camp's coming soon, so that's good. Yeah,
we're going to take a little hiatus from the show. Don't miss us too much, but we will be back in about a month, right?
Yeah. A little that's a nice little hiatus, but I'm always reachable if you guys need anything, especially because this is probably worth saying, but once the training camp tickets get released, like, usually people will scoop up like whatever the allotment is. Like, say you're allowed 10 per person for each date or whatever. People just go in there and they scoop up everything they can, and then as it goes on, then I end up being the repository for a lot of the extra tickets that people can't use. So if you guys want to come to training camp, just hit me up so I can start putting you on the wait list for tickets, because it's going to get to that point at some point. It always does. Like, within the first 24 hours, the training camp tickets are gobbled up. So I'm here to help in that regard. I cannot wait for camp. Like, I just can't wait.
Allie owns the club, and Richmond Webb works the door. That's how things work.
That's right. You have to get through Richmond Webb before you get to me. But we try.
Right, well,
we do what we can.
I will miss you. I'll miss this time together. Half an hour every week that we get to talk Dolphins. Yep. But I think we need a break, right?
Yeah, I mean, I could always use a break. Right now, I'm fostering kittens, so I'm feeding baby kittens every 3 to 4 hours, and I'm exhausted, and it's like having a newborn again. So I could use a break.
Here's the thing about fostered pets. They're never really a foster. They're yours until someone steals them from you. That's basically what it is.
See, like I work with one of the local sanctuaries, Paradise Gardens, and like it's a revolving door with the kittens. So I am trying my hardest to not maintain, I don't want to keep any kittens because then that allows me to foster more kittens once those are done. So that's my goal. I already have 3 cats of my own and I'm not trying to, have 19 of them. So, but
we need to pitch your life to Netflix. This would be such a great streaming show. I mean, the life and times of Dolph Freaky would be just amazing.
Yeah, well, a lot of people ask me like, what do you do in the off season? And I try to do as many like non-football related things as possible and try to do as many me things. And just doing this like makes me really happy. So
I mean, the good news is you've had plenty of time since the Rangers been eliminated.
Seriously? Oh my God, I'm done with you now. But yes, I have. I am sports free right now.
I will see you in a month. And,
enjoy your vacation.
Thank everyone for listening. And do not forget about us. We'll be back soon.
Don't forget. Stay tuned. Fins up, guys.
I was waiting on that.